Hello, world. Hi. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Welcome. I am DM Dan. This is Explorers of Elsewhere Live. We're here for another, the first Tales from Elsewhere of 2025. How's about that, eh? I can see lots of bars going up, so I assume everyone can hear me, and I assume you can hear these 5 wonderful players. Hello, Nate.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Livy.
Hello.
Hello, Georgia.
Hello.
Hello, Theo.
Hello.
Hello, Dan.
Ahoy.
How has your 2025 treated you so far?
Snowy. Wet.
Snow.
Flood and snow.
Yep.
How British are we, eh? When asked how the new year is, we default to weather.
Extreme
Can't
weather.
Help ourselves.
It's been extreme weather, so
It's extreme for
extreme
us.
weather for us.
It's extreme weather.
It's been a whole flurry of snow.
That's true. That is very, very true. Well, yeah, we are here to play some Daggerheart. When we last played, I had been usurped by
And you're going to be usurped again. No.
usurped by the man to my stage right. Omir's all right.
Thanks.
No, it was very, very good.
Tell that to the views on that video, Dan.
We had larks. You all found out why you shouldn't allow me to play a character. But yeah, it was all good. But now we're back for spoilers. The final tale before campaign 3 on the channel goes live. We haven't really, well, I suppose we've spoken a little bit about campaign 3 on the channel. We've recently wrapped up Elysia Rising, of which Nate over here was a prime member. Yeah, it was all fun. It was all good. But yeah, campaign 3 is around the corner. While we're waiting for that to launch, we have this final tale. It's going to last 5 streams, so there's going to be like 10 halves worth of content coming out over the next 10-ish weeks. And I'm excited for it. Who would like to jump into the title screen and get this thing started?
yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yes, please.
All across the unknown world, rediscovery pushes ever onwards to find the lands and people lost. All thanks to our brave explorers.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Vanya, the Wolfkin Warrior.
Hey, I'm Livy. I'm going to be playing Rayri, the Sprite Ranger.
Hi, my name's Theo and I'm playing Cal, the Sangvar Guardian.
I'm Georgia, and I will be playing Elfric Stormhawk, a Dragon Scent Bard.
Hi, I'm Nate, and I'm playing Azakar, a Majani Seraph.
And my name is DM Dan, the GM in these adventures. The further we go, the more we learn of these magical tales from elsewhere. And so, oh, hello Daisy. Oh, you're watching yourself. Hi. And so, we find 5 explorers in the city of Avermore. A bastion of civilization, arguably the strongest and most prominent since the events of the calamitous eschaton just over 18, probably 19-ish months ago. A sprawling city of commerce. It's proven to be, for all intents and purposes, the capital of the recently and newly rediscovered Elsewhere. And as we saw between the spires of the Tower District, as we saw over the roofs of the Crown District, of the Guilds District, we find... Who do we find first? We head into the merchants' quarter on the west side of the city to a curious shop with two entrances. One of, air quote, standard size, 6 foot, just over 6 foot doors, and a second slightly smaller door just to the right of it. And a freshly painted sign hangs above the larger of the two doors, that swings ever so slightly in the gentle breeze. A freshly painted sign that says Tippy Taps. The sign has a pair of purple pointy shoes emblazoned on it. And there's a lot of commotion as the citizens of Avermore peer at this new shop. It's recently been established, demonstrated by the swarm of sprites of all elements, moving in and out, building things, potting plants, just kind of getting the place set up. And watching it, perhaps, is a Ignan sprite, orange-skinned, hair that glows remarkably like magma, stood alongside a 4 foot tall chihuahua type creature. Rayri, what had you been doing to help the families of Islebridge set up their first venture in Avermore?
Just Ravi's helping them find premises. I mean, it was Ravi's idea to bring them over this way. She thought there's a massive untapped market of people wanting tiny shoes. And her and Vinny have been helping set up shop. She's been using Vinny as a cart horse to bring as many tiny shoes into the city as possible, and spreading the word among anyone that might want to know about tiny shoes. Or large shoes, not just tiny shoes, but mainly tiny shoes.
Sure. In which case, yeah, as you're watching this, you spy from your point, or from your place in the crowd, a slightly older, which one would it be? It would be a slightly older looking Aquan sprite. She's kind of leaning on a cane, watching all the construction, and every so often she's sort of like authoritatively kind of pointing and directing workforce into various directions. And Tiber Fisby, matriarch of Clan Fisby of Islebridge, having recently relocated to the city of Avermore, notices you in the crowd, gives you a little wave. And sort of like as she kind of glances at you, she turns round and kind of chastises her daughter, Capuline, who's sort of like who bumps into one of the workforce, like one of the labourers, as she and her adventuring partner, Montana, kind of rush out, getting ready to head up to the Adventures Guild for their first assignment. You hear Tiber kind of giving a very parental, very motherly, like talking to her. Make sure you stay safe, and you make sure you're right. Don't come back. And I'm not just here to clean your clothes. And that, and it cuts through the chatter of the gathered crowds. But you, as you watch this, Rayri, you feel a presence alongside you, and you see a courier, denoted by the grey and blue uniform that they wear. Miss Rayri?
Yeah.
I have a missive for you, the Lorivar man says.
Oh, okay.
And he hands you a small letter, and you notice it's stamped with a wax seal. You realise, an emblem of a ring with 3 different crowns in like a triangle around the ring. And the courier asks you to sign for the letter, and then kind of bows and takes his leave. And you see he just sort of like jogs off into the crowd, like messenger bag.
I give him a load of flyers as he leaves. 25% off Tippy Taps!
Thank you. That gets stuffed into the messenger bag, which then sort of like flaps behind him as he runs back off into the crowd. But yeah, you have this letter. I mean, is there anything? Was there anything in particular that you were doing around Tippy Taps while I was setting up, or were you just sort of like hanging around, see if you could help, just watching them?
Talking, flyering,
Sure.
giving out 25% off
Sure.
your Tippy Taps with code RABY.
Okay. Yeah, in which case, yeah, you look down at this small, like, enveloped letter. The envelope is made from a very rich, very kind of heavy-feeling vellum. It looks pretty high-end. And the sigil on the wax stamp is the symbol of Avamore's, like, ruling nobility, like, ruling council. The culmination of the faith, the mages, and the crown.
Oh, I hope I'm not in trouble. Hope it's not jury duty. I hate that.
Well, as you peer at it and ponder, we move our attentions to... so where we're in the Merchants Guild, Merchants Quarter. So let's head. We head northeast over the river that bisects the city of Avamore, over the park and the walls of the castle of the Crown District, to the very ostentatious towers district, named for, quite unimaginatively, the rising towers that kind of pierce into the skyline. Some even constructed on floating moats of land above the city, chained to other towers to kind of keep them in place. And within the heart of the towers district is a building of breathtaking architectural beauty, made of gleaming white stone, polished silver and gold embellishments, and proudly emblazoned in stained glass over the almost impossibly large doors at the top of a grand sweeping set of stairway, the Grand Temple of Aya. And inside, amongst the robed clergy of the Dragon Mother, the leader of the Pantheon of 12, we find a Majani man. What's Azakar doing?
Azakar is probably meditating.
Mm-hmm.
He's not been called onto for any missions, so he is using that time to sort of reflect and meditate his mind, his body, his manner, just to prepare himself for what he might be called on for next.
Sure. As you you hear a sort of like a murmured blessing from a passing cleric as they walk past you, and there is a low but reverberant chorus of song kind of echoing through these vaulted halls, displaying there are 12 windows in total, each a stained glass display of the 12 dragons that make up the pantheon. You note that there are 8 alcoves which once held stained glass windows, which have since been bricked up. You know that they used to be the positions of the 8 gods who turned against Aya during the war. The betrayers. But basking in the light that emanates down through these 12 windows at the far end of the temple is this 16 foot tall, slender, white scaled dragon spawn, looking somewhat like his brood mother Aya. This spawn of Aya sits on its kind of rear haunches, its long neck, kind of weaving back, like from left to right, as it leads the choir of hymnal song from the gathered kind of adherents. His 4 feathered wings pulled in tight, like cascading down his slender body and spilling out across the marble floor, almost like a gown. And light emanates from the horizontal ring horn shape above his head, looking almost like a halo of light framing his head. And as Aya's spawn sort of like sings softly, you hear a voice behind you that's not as kind of quiet or reverent as the other voices in this place. Mr. Azakar?
Yes?
I have a missive for you. And you turn to see a Avamore courier, grey and blue uniform with a enveloped letter.
He takes a letter. Thank you.
The courier nods as you sign, and then as he turns to leave, he stops. This Laravar man stops and then looks back, and he lowers his head and mutters a quick prayer to Aya, and then runs out with this messenger bag flapping behind him. We turn our attentions to the guild district in a building significantly more quiet than the Grand Temple of Aya, and ferreted away deep within the Avamore archival library is a light blue scaled dragon scent, lost in the maze of corridors of 4-story tall bookshelves, with interconnecting walkways, staircases up and down, a veritable army of clerks and kind of library workers putting books back in, refiling, kind of up, making sure that the books are in decent order. But Alfric, what is it you're doing in this library?
I feel like to look at him, you would think he was a very studious student of some kind. He's kind of sitting at a table. He's surrounded by books, sort of to the extent where he's kind of built a little book fortress for himself.
Mm-hmm.
But then you look closer at the books and you realize he's basically taken all of the fairy tale, like, adventure books from what... This library probably doesn't have a kids section, but if it did, this would be where they're from. And he's studiously poring over all of the adventure, heroic books that he's become so used to reading at home, and he's staring at them so intently. He is learning, he is absorbing. The last few adventures for him haven't gone very well. He is determined not to let that happen again.
Okay. In which case, yeah, as you like somewhat barricaded in by your kind of piles of books, you hear a voice say, "Mr. Stormhall," and the silence is punctuated by a shh from a nearby clerk. And this courier, "Oh, Mr. Stormhall?"
Hello, that's me, yes.
I have a missive for you.
Oh, is it from my parents?
The courier kind of looks at you for a moment and then, oh, and then rifles around in the messenger bag and produces 2 envelopes. Both look like, you know, both envelopes are made from good quality stock. But yeah, you notice one is sealed with a like a royal blue wax seal. Well, one is sealed with a royal blue wax seal, which you, in your time in Avonmore, you know is like the colour, the hue of wax used denotes that it's part of the ruling councils. But you notice the other envelope, you immediately recognise the handwriting on the front as being your parents.
He'll take both envelopes and sort of tuck that one away in his robes somewhere.
Sure. In which case, the courier nods, has you sign for it, and then, "Good day," he whispers, and then, like, it looks like he's about to start kind of running, like jogging from the spot where he's in, and then he stops, realises he's in a library, and then like tiptoes out as quickly and quietly as he can, leaving you in the library with your tomes. We move away from the archival library to a much more rowdy location. The sounds of clashing steel, of guttural grunts, of practiced footwork ring out in this outdoor, like, fenced off courtyard. There are a number of kind of practice target dummies, practice dummies target like round archery targets, and there are a myriad of curious looking folk of all heritages practicing their martial crafts, whether it be swordscraft, bowcraft, spellcraft. And in the middle, off to the side perhaps, is a brooding, slightly older Asavar man with piercing red eyes. What's going on with you, Cal?
Cal is very intently working through his sword techniques. In particular, one that is similar to the ability of the whirlwinds that he has, trying to make sure that he has that down, because it's such an important technique for him. And he's just very focused and very set, not really taking in anything else. He's kind of drowned out the noise around him and focusing on this one technique as much as he can.
Okay. As you attempt to perfect the, well, as you go through the process of the practice regime again, as you kind of swing your sword out in a wide arc, you hear a whoa! And as you turn to look, there's a courier that's on a back foot, like chin pulled into chest, having seemingly just avoided the tip of your new, like, of your short sword that you've recently started using, along with the magic dagger that you've acquired. The courier looks like he watches his face, this Laravel man's face blushes bright red from embarrassment, and then he, Mr. And he looks at a letter, Cal?
That's me.
I have a missive for you, and he, like, gingerly holds an arm out with this letter towards you, and, like, tiptoes in until you are able to take it from him.
I take it.
The courier nods, and if I could just get a signature, please, he says.
I'm not going to bite you.
Well, it's not biting that I'm worried about, he says, eyeing the two blades in your hands.
Like, I think, as before he takes the missive with one, like, he puts the dagger away, takes the missive, and then he kind of does this kind of very, like, impressive sword trick to put the other sword away. And the signs, and it's quite casually just like, I thought about being a courier once. The signs are missive.
The courier kind of, like, nods, and then you watch as this, like, Laravel civilian just kind of glances around this training courtyard, and, like, he visibly flinches as this spellcaster conjures this mote of fire and then accidentally detonates one of the training dummies. And you see this young goblin girl going, "Oh no, not again, not again!" she says as she looks at the flaming pieces of wood and hay on the ground. And the courier looks at you, and it's certainly a quieter life, he says. And he sort of, like, nods, and you see him sort of produce one final letter, and then he looks over his shoulder, and you see him disappear into the drinks hall, like the mess hall. And inside the mess hall, there are raucous laughter, there's kind of jovial jeering, cheering, the sounds of, like, tankards being crashed together, like bragful boasts from one person to another, as the heart of the Explorers Guild draws all of the proudest and loudest of the explorers. And in the middle of the boasting crowds is a wolfkin man with like shoulder-length white hair and a large furred cloak. And Vanya, what gregarious brag have you just levelled at your accomplishments opponent?
This probably was stemmed from a conversation from some other explorer party who's just recently arrived, and they probably told tale of their successful mission in slaying some kind of beast, and Vanya sort of responds like, "I've never heard of such a creature before. I wish I had something like that to fight. You know what I fought last? This strange magic golem. What fun is that?" And he's like, but like it's all like part bragging, but part like sharing a tale of his recent exploits, and like cheersing these local explorers, building like this sort of bantery camaraderie, as like almost like a welcome back, folks.
The keeper kind of in front of you, this kind of almost 9 foot tall, bearded, like giant of a creature. He like bare arms that are covered in tattoos and sort of like decorative scars, and sort of like piercings. Like his tail swishes as he kind of leans back as you complain about the golem, and there's no meat on a golem, that's for sure, this keeper bellows, and as he sort of like laughs,
I know.
the rings kind of punctured through his forehead horns kind of jingle slightly, and he kind of slaps the table in front of you, and then the keeper looks down to you and, although, what was it made of? Perhaps it was edible if you had tried hard enough.
No, I did get something from it. 'Cause magic sometimes leaves like a residue, and sometimes stone builds minerals and such, and there was this strange, like, salt on some parts of the joints, and while my comrades weren't looking, I was scraping a little bit, and I've been testing it out, and it works a bit like a salt. Slight different taste, but it is good.
This Laravar woman with like a shaved bald head like looks at you with this incredulous look, and are you eating magic dust?
Yeah. I mean, do it has a name?
But the Laravar woman just like blinks a few times, and then you notice her eyes flick to something over your shoulder. And as you all turn to look, there's a courier that sort of like stood awkwardly at the side of this group, and I thought a rat once was the size of a dog. And then there's this awkward silence that just kind of spreads across the table.
You gotta start somewhere.
Mr. Vanier, he says, looking around the table.
Yes, that'd be me.
And he hands you a letter. Like, realising he's kind of lost the crowd, he just also offers the signature pad. And just, like, points at it rather than say any more in front of the explorers.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Pass it here. Words, yes. There you go.
The courier nods and, have a good day, everyone, he says as he clears his throat and then, like, grabs the straps of his backpack and messenger bag and then sort of, like, jogs out of the hall. As you sniff the envelope, it smells very crisp. It smells of a, like, whatever tree it was manufactured from was a ripe tree, to be sure, a strong tree.
Good.
Yeah, as you peer at this letter, it is sealed with a royal blue stamp. Like, Vanier, as you glance over, Cal, are you heading in? Because you know Vanier's always drinking in the mess hall, but...
Yeah, it's got letter in one hand, like, tankard in the other.
Yes, so Cal, you've seen the courier also give Vanier a missive. So as you head in, who of the other three do you spy coming in, like, arriving at the mess hall? With Rayri, Africa, and Azakar.
I feel like Rayri is more likely to be in the mess hall. I get a vibe that he would want to come and find whoever's. She'd know that Vanya and Cal probably spend most of their time in these particular rooms, whether they're training together or Vanya's drinking and Cal is sulking. Brooding. Whatever he's doing. So yeah, like these are like frequent places to find the two of us.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a surprise whoever is coming to find us, but I think Rayleigh is the closest, unless it's between Alfric and Rayleigh. But I'm gonna say Rayleigh because I felt more convenient.
Sure. Well, Rayleigh, as you enter in, I can only imagine there are points where you almost have to sort of like drag your faithful mount, Vinny, along by the collar as his head sort of like tilts towards the kitchens of the Explorers Guild. And you see his snoot going into overdrive as he takes in the aromas of the slow cooking meats and sort of like veg that they're preparing in there.
Piece of jerky flies through the air.
And Vinny, there's an audible chomp as Vinny catches some of this jerky. Ravi, as you kind of enter into the Explorers like mess hall, who was it you bumped into on your way back here between the other two?
Bumped into Alfric and gave him a pile of leaflets to give out as he enters.
Okay.
He's dutifully got them in his clawed hand.
Oh, you've got to speak to everyone. I know you don't need shoes, but people do need shoes. Do you wear shoes? You got big feet. I don't know if you wear shoes.
I'm sure you would find me a good pair of shoes.
You could get 4 tippy tap shoes per foot, and they'll go on each one on each claw.
Just on each claw.
On each talon. Just
Perfect.
show off the whole set.
Perfect. Okay, in which case, yeah, Ravi, as you and Vinny like stride across to where Vanya and Cal are, Azakar, you're the last to arrive, and you are confronted by Alfric, who's kind of got a handout with a leaflet for tippy taps in hand.
A slightly glazed look in his eye.
Azakar just looks at him. Just no expression. No. Just walks past.
Amazing. Well, as you convene, Alfric, you're able to you chance upon a passing kind of gaggle of goblins, and you're able to just like hand out all of the leaflets in quick succession. One of the goblins sort of like, oh yeah, we'll have them. Oh yeah, 10% off. Oh yeah, absolutely. And you miss the slightly mischievous swish of the goblin's tail, as he like takes the leaflets off you. And yeah, grand.
Thank you so much.
And the 5 of you finally manage to take your seats on one of the long benches in the mess hall. And between the 5 of you, how long do you reckon it's been since your trip to Islebridge? In, say, weeks? A couple of weeks?
Well, yeah, I'd say a couple of weeks. I guess it depends on how long it takes to set up a shop in Avon.
Yeah, I suppose that's kind of the
not that long.
I was thinking like 4 weeks. So
4 weeks? Okay.
that was my
4 weeks sounds about right.
thinking.
Let's say 4 weeks. Yeah, it takes quite a while to get the permissions and the paperwork through the guilds and so on.
all
and
the
so forth.
shoes.
All the shoes. Yeah, all the shoes have got to be made. Okay. In which case, yeah, as the 5 of you take a seat, you all notice that Vanier has on the bench in front of him a letter identical to the ones you've all received as well.
Oh, you got a letter as well. I've got one of those. She
Uh-oh.
takes like a half chewed one that Vinny's had. Just I haven't opened it yet though. I don't really like opening letters. I'm just worried it might be like a bill or something.
Vanya at this point has definitely got a round of drinks coming on the way. Seeing that his companions have been slowly sort of coming through. So hopefully the barmaid starts like putting down the tankards as we're talking, but it's like I've opened it, but what is this?
It's a letter.
It is good to see you all again, my friends. And he like just goes switches from like this like 2 different like emotions as he like starts trying to like embrace everyone for a big hug, even if they don't want it. It's like, comrades, come. Let's just figure this out. You got what
Maybe
do.
just gets on the table, just hugs his head.
Oh. And yeah, slips like another bit of jerky for Vinny. Just to keep him happy.
Between Cal and Azakar, well, I say both of you actually. What do you make of the fact that these missives hold the seal of the council?
Means it's official. It means that it's important. Cal doesn't like that. Gives him the ick. Just a bit. No. I think we should read these letters and see what they are.
What are you talking? Have you not read them yet?
No, I've literally just received mine. I walked in and Vanya was here. I haven't read it yet.
That's the only reason why I'm here, is because I've read it.
I opened mine, but
I was slightly
I need
nervous
like
too.
a breakdown.
Fine, I'm gonna open my letter.
Okay. So, Alfred, did you say you were too nervous to open yours?
Slightly nervous.
Okay. Dear Azakar, Ravi, Alfred, Cal, Vanya, I hope you are well. It would seem that you and your companions and yourself have been building quite a reputation within the Explorers Guild, the Explorers Society. And you have attracted the attention of one of our own. At your earliest convenience, please see us at Fengaran Keep in the in the Towers district, so we may discuss your new patrons' requests further. Yours faithfully and magically, Archmagister Meridius Redan. And you remember Meridius to be, well, he is the Archmagister, so the leader of the Council of Mages. He's bumped into you a few times. You've spoken to him on occasion. He's effectively the leader of the spellcasters, the wizards of Avamore. Yes, it seems that the five of you have all been summoned to Fengaran Keep, which you all know the location of. It's a very prim and proper, like manor come almost like fortified. It's a fortified manor of sorts that serves as the base of operations for the Council of Mages.
Yeah, Vanya, you're like seeing everyone receiving a letter, starts to like get a buzz, and he's like, "Are we all going on another adventure again? I've been itching. I've been getting drunk and lazy of late. I need to get back in the action."
You're always drunk.
Well, only on our rest days, which is every day.
I would request that you sober up. This is
Plenty
high
sober.
importance.
As he's like,
Elsa
"Go
drinks
pick."
two in each hand.
I'm fine.
So we all got one. Alfred got one.
He's an explorer now.
Come on, Alfred.
Yes, Alfric got one.
Yes, I got one in the library. See? And he like pushes it across the table. I mean, I am an explorer.
That's from your mum and dad.
Oh, sorry. He like tucks it away. It's just the right one across.
See?
That's for later.
Your hard work is paying off and you're being recognized. Well done. He gives a massive pat on the back.
Oscar's like flat on the table.
Is there anything that any of the five of you are burning to do before you make your way up to Thengaren? If not, we will smash cut.
Yes.
New
finish my
shoes for
drink.
everyone.
Well, but beyond the ever-present need for festivities and drinking, have you got any kind of prior engagements before, or shall we smash over?
Smash it.
Smash it.
Smash it. Okay.
Smash it.
In which case, as you take, well, I mean, when it comes to mages, they're usually quite tardy anyway, so you certainly are allowed to take your time somewhat. But yeah, you finish your drinks, you finish you order and finish your meals. By the time you begin making your way north up through Avamore, following the river that bisects the city from north to south, the sun is beginning its descent towards the horizon. The sky is turning ever so slightly, beginning to shift from like a sky blue to a more pinkish hue. And before long, you find yourself stood in front of the rather impressive looking Thengaren Keep. The large arched gate that leads into the Thengaren Keep grounds is flanked by a number of spell guardians. They look at the five of you from under royal blue hoods, and the runes on their magical gloves thrumming with energy, and they nod at you in turn as they bid you enter. It's ever so good of you to join us, Meridius starts once you're in the kind of the meeting hall. He's got you sat around at one end of this 25-30 foot long table in this kind of grand hall, and perhaps worryingly, food is being conjured onto the plates in front of you. A second dinner, if you will. But it's a good. I'm thankful that you joined so promptly. Meridius says. As I mentioned in my letter, you have been making quite the waves throughout the city, and your recent exploits have drawn some eyes in your direction. Tell me, how are you finding being explorers? And he, as he says that, you notice his eyes fall mostly on you, Alfric.
I mean, it's wonderful doing what we do, isn't it?
Meridius nods. Yes, I'm always blown away by the bottomless courage and determination that the explorers have exhibited since the eschaton, and for that you have my sincerest thanks. But unfortunately, it was not myself who summoned you here, who was asked for an audience with you. That would be my esteemed colleague, he says, and as he gestures down the table, he seemingly gestures to nothing, like an empty space in the hall, and then as he holds his hand, you see this kind of ripple of light materialize in the air, and it spreads open to form a personal, like a one-person portal, and through it steps a Lorivar man with neat, combed back brown hair. He looks quite young, younger than Meridius, and he steps forward with this kind of deep blue top with this kind of red maroon cloak hanging off his back. In fact, I could probably show you this. Yes. So yeah, deep blue top, maroon cloak. From the cloak comes over his shoulders and meets a silver diamond clasp in front of his breastbone. There are kind of these golden prong-like shoulder pads that jut from his shoulders. And as he steps through the portal, there is a resonant boom as he places a white marble staff on the ground. The staff is topped with an almost trident-like blue crystal tip, like a power focus, a magical focus of some sort. And like Meridius, like his hand now gesturing to the exact spot that this Lorivar mage is now occupying, finishes his sentence. Explorers, meet Ganus Morenz. Ganus, you're explorers, he says. And the young mage sort of like nods to you all as he approaches. You notice that he sort of like, he releases his staff and it just stays in place as he approaches you with his hands kind of clasped at the small of his back. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to meet with me. I must admit I'm somewhat in awe of the things that you have accomplished. You've certainly been busy, he says, as he looks to you all in turn. As the Archmagister has said, my name is Ganus Morenz. I'm hoping that you will... Well, I have an opportunity that I hope you will accompany me on. It is a mission that I'm sure your skills would be a fortuitous boon to add to proceedings. But my apologies. I do have a propensity for wittering. May I? He says to you, Cal, as he gestures to the seat next to you.
If you must.
Ganus nods and takes a seat. So the role that the mission that I would hope you will accompany me on is one of some peril. But that's why I decided to source you out. The five of you have proven yourself capable, as well as adaptive to a wide variety of problems and threats. I've heard of some of your exploits at Cayley Point. From what I understand, an undead apparition as large as that ghost ship being vanquished so quickly is quite phenomenal, I must say. He says, looking at you, Rayri. Rayri and Azakar. And from what I've heard, your discoveries beneath the Crystal Tower to the north of New Prosper, that has caused quite the commotion amongst our circle. So we thank you for bringing our attentions to that. But again, forgive me, I'm wittering. The mission that I would bid you join me on is to a region called Merathesos. It is a region of some sadness for us in Avamore. It is our expedition to that region actually failed. One of the few and rare failures of explorer expeditions since the Eschaton. it proved the environment proved a bit too inhospitable, and the expedition were harried by forces of the betrayers. Whilst the betrayers were defeated, their backs broken and cast to the wind, the expedition weren't able to find the location of their stronghold before they had to retreat back to safer climates. But I believe, he says, waggling a finger, that the power exhibited by those forces of the betrayers that assailed the expedition were powerful enough that whatever they have stored within that stronghold will be positively... it would be incredible for us to be able to acquire those, if nothing more than to deprive the enemy of their very power. If you agree, and I truly hope you do, I would bid you join me, venture to Merethesos, find the location of this betrayer stronghold, and bring back any powerful magical items back to Avamore for safekeeping and perhaps use in a more constructive and positive manner. What say you all?
Sounds fine to me.
If it is anything to go against the betrayers, I am always in.
I'm in.
Nothing better to do.
Gannis's face falls to you, Cal, as the last to respond.
If that's what you need of me.
Yes, I'm more than confident that your combined skills is just what this mission needs to achieve full success, and I am greatly humbled that the five of you would join me in this matter. If there's nothing else, Archmagister, I have other duties to attend to. If you have any questions about the mission, the Archmagister is fully briefed, so he will be able to answer any and all. But once again, I thank you all, Gannis says as he rises to his feet. He stops, and of course, you will be generously rewarded. This mission is of the utmost importance, if not just for the Council of Mages, but also for the faith and the ruling houses. So, yes, for any threat that you may put yourselves in the line of, you will be more than fairly rewarded. And yeah, Gannis thinks to see if there's anything else, and then deciding there's not, kind of slaps his hips. And with that, I bid you farewell. And he takes a step back, holds his hand out, and the staff slides across the polished stone floor into his hand. Explorers, he says with a bow. Archmagister, he says with a second bow. And he begins to walk sort of like past you all towards the door that you came in, but before he reaches it, a portal opens and he steps through that instead. And Meridius is left sat at the head of the table. He's now kind of like leaning on one arm, and there's this wry smirk on his face. He's an eager little chap, isn't he?
It makes a flashy entrance, that's for sure.
Would any of us know who Gannis is?
No. So Gannis is not a name that any of the five of you have heard. And Meridius seems to almost kind of read the question on your mind, Azakar, and then bolstered by what Ray's just said. Gannis is he's our newest Archmagister elect. and his intentions are true. The expedition to Merethesos was unfortunately a failure. We managed to save who we could, but his theory is correct. Wherever those betrayers were holed up, there's probably some very powerful stuff in there that we could use for the rediscovery.
So this is a retrieval mission.
It's a yes, retrieval, investigation. Think of it as a more exciting stock take. It's a logistical mission of sorts, but
Well, there's a difference between, securing the site to retrieving some goods to take back to Avamore.
Well, as he said, the expedition were able to defeat the forces of the betrayer that assailed them during their expedition, but unfortunately the casualties that were inflicted upon the expedition were too great for them to carry on. That, combined with Merethesos' unfortunate circumstances during the eschaton, they just didn't have enough resource and supply left in them to be able to stick the landing, so to speak. But yes, it's certainly a bold mission. I won't deny that I suspect that Gannis is striving to create as good an impression on the Council of Mages as he possibly can, given that will support his nomination to Archmagister should this in the future. I suspect he's just trying to impress as many people as he can.
Am I right in saying that he'll be joining us from what he was saying?
He will, yes. He will be joining you. He is a mage of surprising power. So his abilities, I'm sure, will complement your own wonderfully. He will also then act as a lead, a decision maker. It will be like a mini expedition in of itself.
And what were these forces exactly?
Were
they mages, creatures?
It was all from the reports from the expedition members. It was all manner of people, of beasts, of manifestations, myriad legions from various, like a number of the betrayer gods. We believe that the stronghold may well be a temple of sorts to Naravid, he says, and there's a slight twinge in his face as he says the god's name. Who's got at least 0 in knowledge?
Me.
Got 0.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So Rayri, it's just you that's like, I don't know who I don't know who's who among the dragons, but you know that Naravid is one of the betrayer gods, and is sometimes known as the Doomsayer. During the war, Naravid's precognitive visions of the future were sometimes both a blessing and a curse to the forces of Akan during the war. Being able to see the future, to manipulate events. To the more disparaging members of the faith, Naravid was nothing more than a 10 copper fortune teller. But yeah, it could be argued how much of an effect Naravid's powers had on the war. Yes, the vast majority of the forces were defeated, but we can't be sure for certain who or what's left. There may be some forces that have retreated to the stronghold, to this maybe temple, but I suspect that's where the 5 of your abilities come in.
Oh, wait. I was thinking that it is most likely that it's been reoccupied since sometimes elapsed since this expedition.
Perhaps it has been a few months since it has been about a month and a half since the expedition returned. So there may be new residents in this temple. Whether or not they were the previous tenants or not, we couldn't say.
Well, I am ready for whatever may come.
Marvellous.
Where going to go? He sort of looks over to everyone else.
In which case, as the expedition to Merethesos was not successful, a stable portal was never established. However, I have advised the portaliers at the concourse to provide you passage to Merethesos. Partly also why Gannis is going to be quite crucial to your group, to make sure, if nothing else, that you arrive in the right place. So, whenever is good for you, please make your way to the concourse. Gannis will meet you there, and then you can hopefully be there and back in time for supper.
If the portal's not there, how do we get back?
Gannis will be able to provide you passage back as well.
What if we lose Gannis?
I would rather you didn't, actually, Rary.
I wasn't planning to. We've got to think of all outcomes, don't you?
Gannis is more than capable, as are yourselves. So, well, in the unlikely in the unlikely circumstance that you were to lose Gannis, well, it's a long walk back. And he gives you
keep him alive.
Yes, Meridius gives you a face that just says, "Don't tempt the walk."
Foreshadowing is a literary device.
So, does anyone else have any further questions?
Was it just us 5 you asked?
Correct.
Wasn't anyone else? Didn't ask a little goblin with a kind of lisp. We've adventured with him before.
Meridius thinks about it, and no, it was just the 5 of you, actually.
Oh, I thought he had real potential.
Oh, what about that lady we travelled with that once?
Oh yeah, with the pointy hat.
Yeah.
Lucretia, yes. Lucretia has already been called away on another mission, unfortunately. But again, whilst Lucretia has ties with yourselves, it was very specifically the 5 of you that Gannis requested.
I just look over at Alfric, and I'm like,
That's our kid. That's our kid.
Does Meridius looks to you, Azakar? Any questions?
No, if you believe this is an important mission against the betrayers, I am at your service.
Meridius nods. Yes, I do. Again, anything we can do to deprive the enemy of powerful weapons or artifacts, Weird. He turns to Cal with raised eyebrows.
I have no reason not to do the same.
Meridius kind of claps. Marvellous. Well, unless anyone else has any questions, please tuck into your meals. It's getting to around dinner time. You must all be famished. He says as Vague's just Tasmanian deviling his way through his food.
Just like he's a bit shocked about magic food. Food that's just been magic because he works hard for his cooking. So he's really like chewing through it, almost with like this like over the top disdain for the fact this is just being whipped up magically.
It tastes
not real hard work.
It tastes incredible. Like it's got the flavors that you would expect of it, but it's just got that little extra like zhuzh that makes it really moreish. And as Meridius watches you plowing through this food, he says, and the best thing is no calories.
Well, but
But
we
you
need
need
that.
calories.
Yeah, we need that.
No, don't worry, everyone. I have specifically packed a lot in case we went on some other adventure. I've got plenty of good, nutritious food ready to whip up a meal at any time. I've got you.
As like, are you producing? Are you going to a dinner
I'm,
party
like, pulling
and
out, like-
producing more food?
Well, just like bringing, like, just showing, like, I even brought veg this time, and we're gonna make sure we get your carbs as well. And, and he's just like just showing a few pieces that he's just like he's purposely gone to the market and like bought extra supplies just on the off chance.
Amazing. Okay.
While everyone's distracted, Ravi's just going to pour her plate into Vinny's open mouth. Just...
the
Yum yum, really good.
Okay, as the sounds of Vanier's and Vinny's chops smacking echo through this hall, we fast forward to a little while later, outside of, well, you've left Thengaran Keep. You feel, well, Vanier at the very least, you feel full, but it's, I don't know, you know when you eat a Chinese, like real world talk, when you eat a Chinese and you're really, really full and then like a very short while later you feel really hungry again? That. Yeah, you've made your way to the concourse. So the kind of it's effectively like a large plaza area, kind of ornamental, decorative pillars surrounded by sort of like shrub type bushes and fences and walkways. And the paving stones underfoot are a meticulously kind of cleaned white like light white stone. And in this sort of like large, almost kind of Colosseum-like building in the middle of this plaza, there are a number of kind of spell guardians and portaliers kind of mingling about. You can see that there are trading wagons kind of heading into the concourse, presumably at the end of a day's worth of work, heading back to their respective expedition established settlements. But as you approach, one of the portaliers kind of notices the five of you and kind of gestures you over. And as you approach, you hear, I must admit, I'm very excited for this, as Gannis says as he kind of appears alongside you. It's been quite a time since I've been out in the wilds with adventurers, explorers such as yourselves.
Did you
you've
not
been-
originally go on the exhibition?
I was unfortunately not part of the expedition to Mirror Thesos, no. But from listening to the accounts from those who made it back, most obviously were more than happy to with the safety of the expedition members, but from their stories I realised that there was a facet of the tale that hadn't quite been explored, and here we are.
And you've done much adventuring before?
I've been on I've been on a few ventures, but I assure you my arcane acumen and ability is well honed.
Well, you can certainly count on us.
I'm counting on it, he says as he smiles to the five of you. Our portal awaits, shall we? Gannis speaks to the portalier. You're kind of moved into an area away from the sort of like the travelling traders and other kind of comers and goers, and between Gannis and Gannis provides a parchment of runic instructions to the portalier. The portalier is reading it and looks a little shocked, looks a little surprised, before kind of clearing her throat, and you see this sort of like this Wolfkin woman pulls the hood up over her head as she closes her eyes and begins incanting, and orange runes appear in a circle around your feet, and Gannis sort of like scurries in amongst the five of you and sort of like clutches his staff, clutches it close to his chest, and it's always the lurch in the stomach that gets me, he says. And in a flash of light, the runes ignite. You're enveloped in this kind of sphere of energy, and whoom, a moment later, you are in a different place entirely. As the sensation of rushing wind leaves your ears, as that lurch in your stomach settles after a feeling of plummeting through nothingness for both an incredibly short and an incredibly prolonged period of time. The smell of tangy ozone lingering in the air. As your visions begin to stabilise, you find yourselves in this large, kind of flat, plains-like area. Around you, you can see that the runes have scorched themselves into this veritable bed of orange moss that covers what appears to be kind of rolling black, like a porous rolling black floor underfoot. Who's got a instinct or knowledge of at least one?
Me.
Okay. So
Instinct too.
So those four of you then, as you look down, you realise the stone floor, the stone ground that you're stood on, is cooled magma flow. It is volcanic rock. And what is curious about this volcanic rock, as I say, is this rug of orange moss that carpets it so thickly it looks like an orange grassland, almost.
Like my hair.
Very much like your hair, yeah. The like around you can see like from the ebb and flow of the stone of the ground that you're stood on, you can see that this volcanic flow once primarily originated from the mountains you can see in the distance. And looking like putting two and two together based on what the mages were saying earlier, you suspect that during the eschaton, the volcanoes, like the mountain range, must have erupted and annihilated this area with lava flow. And your suspicions are somewhat confirmed as you peer up to the mountains in the distance, lighting the sky like miniature suns in the dusk light, are floating orbs of magma that just gently and lazily bob up and down and float through the air, carried around on just idly kind of floating. Every so often you watch as two kind of collide into one another, and they slowly there's resistance, and then they kind of glob together. It's almost like the globules within a lava lamp. And you notice that the cooler, the brighter of these lava globes, the more active seem to be a bit higher, but there are some which seemingly are beginning to cool down. There's a crust, like a black crust, beginning to form on their outer surfaces, and they're kind of lowering down back towards the ground a bit more. Besides that, you see like pillars that look like it looks like a magma like a magma fall that has just kind of dried and crusted, that they jut from the ground like stalagmites. And there's just this eerie but peaceful feel to the area. And Gannis takes in a deep breath and, well, we've arrived where we were supposed to, he says, as he looks around at this relatively featureless, moss-covered barren. And he looks around trying to find, looking for the sun. Okay, so if we need to go that way, he says, and he gestures. We'll make as much time as we can while the sun's up, but we'll soon need to make camp. We'll set up a watch, and then in the morning we'll have a full day's worth of travel before we reach the temple. I understand you've brought provisions, he says, looking at you, Vanya.
Yes. I mean, I don't know how long we're out here for, but I've got quite a lot of provisions.
He nods. Marvellous. Well, I look forward to snacking on them tonight, but after you, explorers, he says as he gestures in the direction of travel.
I think Riri, seeing the environment, feels a little just I don't know, it kind of brings her back to what happened previously to her hometown, and she just, without really knowing what she's doing, she just holds on to Cal's coattail and just holds on. She doesn't really realise she's doing it. Just holds on and just kind of waits for somebody else to start moving.
Oh,
just looking a bit like
Vanya's going forward.
In which case, Cal, as you watch Vanya stride on, as you feel kind of Riri grip at your side. The five of you look across this bizarre kind of globular shaped landscape in front of you, as the orange moss changes hue slightly as the sky overhead descends into night. And as the six of you begin your journey, let's have a quick break. So, we will go on a quick break for probably until about 22, so it's going to be about 13 minutes. If you're enjoying the story or you're interested to see what happens next, make sure to hit the like button, so hit the subscribe button, and hello if you're on Twitch. If you're watching this on Twitch, this is the first time we've been on Twitch. I think you follow us here, something like that. Do whatever it is that you do to see us on Twitch. But yeah, we will be back at 20 to 10. Thank you for watching. See you in a bit. Bye. Oh, missed that jump. Hello, world. Hi, welcome back to Explorers of Elsewhere's Tales from Elsewhere. Hi, I am DM Dan, and I am joined tonight by Nate, Nate, Livy, Georgia, Theo, and Dan. Hello, 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 hello.
I'm just so in character that I'm just Rayri now.
You are
This
Rayri.
is me.
You
It's just
are
me.
Rayri. We rejoin the five of you. You've in a relatively quick series of events, you've been sought out. You've been propositioned with a mission to a region of the rediscovered world called Merathesos. The site or a region that played host to an unfortunately failed expedition to set up a new settlement in the area. But yes, an Archmagister elect has asked you to accompany him to the location in order to locate any kind of artifacts that may have been used by enemy forces once upon a time. And return them to the city of Avermore to kind of live in the safe protection of presumably the mages. And you have recently arrived in Merathesos via portal, and you've been kind of walking along these strange, like volcanic rock plains covered in a thick orange carpet, like thick orange moss. And we snap back to the six of you, Gannis, the Archmagister elect included, sat around a campfire. I'm hoping you can all see the campfire.
Yes.
Beautiful. In which case, where's that else? Sorry, where's that selected? Oh no, I'm gonna have to refresh. Hold! Hold! Just gonna quickly refresh that page. Yeah, we find the five of you sat around a campfire in front of your beautifully colour-coded tents. The sky overhead is a deep violet, punctuated by starlight, like the stars. It's a beautifully clear night, and in the distance, like enormously overgrown fireflies, there are these cored floating orbs of magma that are just kind of bobbing around. Now that the temperature has largely dropped and you're being kept warm by the campfire, there's a cooking pot held over the open flames. The campfire is keeping you warm. But yeah, these orbs have they're gently floating around 10 to 15 feet off the ground. And yeah, we find the six of you kind of gathered around. There's been a moment of sort of like reverence, of just kind of taking in the natural beauty of what you see around you. But who is it that kind of breaks the thoughtful silence? Yes, Vanya.
Probably not in the real heartfelt talk way that this campfire work this kind of leads towards, but there's definitely like Vanya's definitely breaking the silence by almost doing a whole Senji moment of like, right, you cut the meat into slices, get the skewer stick. You put the meat, but you got to separate the meat with this veg. And he's like talking through like how he's
Got his little
cooking up
show.
a meal of radigator, skewers, mixed with crystal tower fruit that we got from that adventure.
Okay.
And you'll probably tell some story as well about how fearsome this radigator was. So there's some background noise.
I mean, Alfred wasn't there for the crystal adventure, so I imagine he's very excited to hear what you got up to.
Vanya, what was the most memorably impressive moment of that Crystal Tower mission? The first mission that the five of you kind of, it was the four of you kind of ventured out
on. I think it would be should I say this in character? I'll give it a go in character. As he's like been like talking about how he came across this strange enlarged magical fruit within this tower that some of us had traversed in as he was getting story, and Alfred, you probably mentioned that you're probably asking questions and stuff, and I think at this moment it would be Vanya, be like, as he's like putting the meat on to cook over the heat of the fire and slowly turning them. He's like, well, there's nothing quite like being in combat and being on the same level as one of your companions in the heat of it. You know, it's hard to explain. Me and Azakar, we're trying to fight this dragon scent ghost. I don't know. Everyone was not having a great time with this fellow. He seems quite powerful. But alas, it was glorious. You should have seen it. There was this moment where me and Azakar were there, and we were in sync. And with this divine magic of his in my primal gauntlet, we managed to strike a blow so powerful. I don't know what the word is, convergence or something like that, I don't know. Mixture of primal and divine working together. There's something about that level of connection within a fight. It just gets the blood boiling, and it was great. I never felt like a true explorer until that point.
How does Azakar's memory of that tie in? Given that what happened to Azakar immediately prior to.
Azakar is overhearing this, and he's keeping very quiet. He actually still feels quite ashamed how close he was to death that day, and how coming from the brink of it, even though it was quite a large blow that we made and was able to defeat Agtrak, he felt like he sort of lost himself a little bit in the fight, in the situation, and he's not used to that. He's much more used to being composed, and he's been thinking a lot more recently how within this group his composure does seem to slip from time to time.
Okay. As you have these thoughts, who do you notice is sort of like watching you as Vanier boldly proclaims about this heroic tale? Who's kind of watching you for your reaction?
I would say probably Cal.
Oh.
And while Azakar is trying to sort of push this back to his mind, he then realizes that he's being watched by Cal, and he sort of just straightens himself out and just sort of pretends that he's listening.
Does Cal have anything to add to Vanya's story?
I think. Trying to think now. I think necessarily I don't think he's really engaging in the story that much. I think his brain is full of other things. It's almost like happenstance. He's heard the name Azakar. He looks up because he's very used to Vanya telling stories. He's very, not that he's blocking him out, because that's not it, but he's very
Alfred
used
is
to
the captive audience.
Yeah. Alfric is into it. He knows Vanya is a great storyteller. He would not take that from him. But it's more the case of he notices that Azakar gets funny about him looking that way. So instead, Cal just gives him a kind of polite nod, and then just looks away. He's probably more concerned about Riri after her reaction to arriving, especially after her reaction to holding his coat. So I think really his mind is on that. Yeah.
Well, yeah, in which case, as you turn your attentions from Azakar to Riri, who's sat next to you, presumably kind of nestled in the prone form of Vinny, like the curled up Vinny. What's going through Riri's mind right now?
I think Riri's just kind of sitting there, just kind of staring at the fire, and she looks to Cal as she notices that Cal is looking at her, and she looks at him and she just says, do you think the fire is intrinsically bad? Do you think, all it does is take away?
That's not true. That's not true, Riri.
Do you think it's... But what does it give?
What's it doing now? It's giving us a meal. It's keeping us warm. There is good and bad for all things. It's about how it's used.
But everyone's scared of fire, really, aren't they?
Fire in hands of people who misuse it can be bad, but that does not mean it is bad. People can be scared of lots of different things. Doesn't mean it's bad. And I feel like Cal will offer his arm out for her if she wants a hug.
She'll just kind of take it and just kind of hold it, and you can feel how warm her little hand is, and she just can't stop looking at the fire and just thinking about just everything that's happened and everything that fire means to her, and she's just she's just thinking. She's just like, did I ever tell you what happened to my home?
No, you didn't. You can tell me if you want to, but you don't have to.
Well, fire burnt it all down. And that's just the whole place went. And that's like part of me, isn't it? That's what I am. Just burning everything up. And all I do is just destroy everything.
Oh, Riri, that's not true. That is definitely not true. You haven't burnt everything up. You are warm and kind, and you've built things. Tippy Taps was made because of you. That's not destruction, that's creation.
Yeah, but I'll probably just mess that up as well.
Riri, do you... How much do you love that shop?
Quite a lot.
And it's something you really wanted to do?
Yeah,
Then you're not gonna screw it up.
but that's what happened to my home. I love that very much.
And bad things sometimes can happen. But this time you have us. I'm not going anywhere.
Okay. She just kind of nuzzles down, just holding his hand like a little pillow. I guess. I hope that fruit that he's cooking is still all right. He's had it in his bag for so long.
Over a month.
Oh no, it's a special cool bag that keeps it fresh. But no, he yeah, at that point, you hear Vanya's like, that should do it. And he picks up the various like skewers, and he's like, oh, forgot something. And he takes this mysterious like salt type substance, sprinkles it on each of the skewers. He's like, right, here you are, everyone. And he starts passing them out, seeing this like moment happen as well. And it's like, well, for starters, let's get some warm food in our bellies. That always makes us feel better. And yeah, he's passing out these like skewers out to everyone. Rajagator skewers with these like segmented on the skewer with this like fruit, and like that's been roasted a bit on the fire, and this yeah, this special salt, mystery salt that's been sprinkled on.
As Vanier is handing out these little this meal, this kebabi like meal, Alfric, you've just kind of witnessed this kind of glorious, heroic, triumphant tale, and then been privy to quite a vulnerable display from Riri, which seems I would argue quite uncharacteristic from what you know of Riri. But hearing, like, and also as you kind of glance to your right out the corner of your eye, you can't help but your eyes linger for a moment on Azakar has like burn marks down his left side, right?
Yeah.
So you notice that there are these kind of burnt scars down Azakar's left side, you know, under across his left cheek and kind of down down his left arm. And hearing this kind of tragic tale of Riri's and her, like, you know, the place where she grew up, standing in stark contrast to your own story of upbringing. What's going through your mind as you kind of hear these stories of, like, real world tragedy.
I think it hasn't escaped Alfric's notice that the two adventures that kind of, caught the eye of the powers that be and are the reason that we're here currently are the two adventures that he was not a part of. Or the ones that were made a large deal of before we came here were the two that this group had before he came. And I think he's, especially these past couple of weeks, he's been nursing the beginnings of what one might call imposter syndrome, as he's begun to realize that sometimes bad things happen and they can't all be fixed just because you're heroic enough and brave enough. They can just happen. And that is a horrible existential thing to happen in the mind of small boy. So I think it's begun to sort of dawn on him that maybe things can't be controlled in the way that he sort of always learnt that they can, and that he is much more sheltered than he previously was conscious of. So I think in order to kind of distract himself and to try and help, he will get his violin out, because he doesn't quite know how to broach those kind of subjects with people. They've not been things that he's ever had to talk about or address in any way other than, the horrors of war happened beyond his family's estate. He wasn't even involved in what happened all those years ago. Well, not all those years ago, not even very long ago. So he will play what song is it? He will play a heartbreaking song, and everyone will gain a hope.
Oh, everyone gains a
That is the only way that he really knows how to express that apology, in a way.
Ravi's just like lying down, eating her kebab, just sadly eating a kebab, listening to a sad song.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
You know my ability with to give free hope and gain free hope.
Yes.
Could I, in this moment, instead gaining 3 hope, to give as I'm passing the food out, hearing this like really right moment between these 2 individuals of our team, really bringing like reality and home, the hardships of what we do. I'd rather forgo me gaining free hope and provide it to both Cal and Rayri, as part of me providing this food and sustenance to try and give them a little bit of hope.
Okay.
Would that be possible?
I mean, I'll pause you because technically I did compliment Rayri quite a bit, which means that we both get free hope.
Yeah, it would work. You might as well. Yeah, that works.
I could have so much hope.
Gonna be busting with it.
I should talk about my dead family more often.
Well, no, that sounds more apt, I think, to be fair. Okay. So maybe in this case, I'll just spend it with Alfric instead, as I'd be regaining this heroic tale to Alfric.
Sure. Okay, so Alfric gains 3 hope. Okay.
And me.
So that takes
and
Alfric
then
up to 4/6.
Everyone gets 1 hope from the song.
Vanya gets up to 6.
And
then, sorry, Cal and Ray.
Can I reduce one of them to put them into a
Slayer dice?
Yeah, can I sacrifice a hope?
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Go into Slayer die.
Down to 3. What? So sorry. What was Cal and Ray's interaction? What did that give you? Anything mechanically?
Cal and Rayri get Yes, they get free hope each.
Oh, I see. Oh, I see. Hope's a rare resource. DM down laughed. Right, okay. So everyone but me and Azakar on max hope / fear. Oh no, Vanya's on 5. Not Vanya's on 5. Okay, very good. In which case, the yes, Chris in YouTube is Chris. You're very right. Gannis is sort of like looking at the 5 of you, and like he's just kind of taking in the stories. He turns to regard you as a car. How long have you been a devotee of Aya?
All my life. It is what I was raised. I was born close to the temple. I was raised by the temple.
And you've never... Has your heart ever been gripped by another? Or have you found your faith to be ironclad?
He looks at Gannis in a sort of like, what kind of question is that? No.
Gannis smiles and sort of like nods. Sometimes I wonder how life would be different if we all had such a stalwart guiding light, guiding principle to direct us through life. I am somewhat envious of you, Azakar.
He ponders on this for a while, kind of thinking like, well, you could just do what I do, and then you... But he nods, trying to sort of understand, and says, there were times where my faith was very tested. The war definitely was almost a large turning point for me. But I had to trust that Aya was always by my side and always had my best interests at heart. Like she does everyone here.
Gannis is quiet for a moment. The war really showed us what makes us us. There are a great many tragedies and wrongs that came from that time. But I suppose you could argue that it has provided us with clarity, with purpose. And whilst I would never wish to return to such a destructive time, perhaps I can take some solace in knowing that we have survived such a troublesome time.
What about yourself? What has led you down your path?
I'm a wielder of the arcane. I live my life looking over my shoulder, wielding the powers of the enemy. As I say, the war gives us perspective, I feel. And it has given me the encouragement to do what needs must be done to ensure that life continues as it should. Elsewhere continues as it should. There are some who say that we still live in a tumultuous time. There are forces of loyal to a Khan and his brood still moving through the world. There are those who find themselves torn between the mandates of Aya's brood and the emergence of the world spirits. So I find myself a wanderer in a world of split loyalties, doing everything I can to make sure that what I do is the right thing to do for the right powers that be.
And what do you feel is the right thing to do? And he sort of squints at him slightly, knowing full well that there's lots of people he's probably met who thought they all knew what was the right thing to do.
He holds your gaze for a while, for a few seconds, and then breaks away. Perhaps when I know for certain, I'll let you know, he says with an apologetic smile.
I'll hold you to that.
Gannis nods and curiously thanks you. Are there any other discussions that anyone would like to have with other members of the group? Anyone who wants to hold someone down and give them a stern talking to? Or are we all ready to retire? Full of Radigator, was it?
Yeah, Rajigator.
Rajigator,
which is a large crocodile-like creature that has a electrical sac in it that, almost like an eel, just electrocutes prey.
Okay.
As it snaps.
Well,
hard foe to slay.
Okay, well,
bit of seafood. Well, river food.
Well, actually, first things first. You know what, Chris? I think I will. Azakar, let's give you one. Let's give you one hope for talking to the NPC. Doing a campfire.
Oh, thanks.
Campfire chat with the NPC. So for your belly's full. The embers of the campfire begin to the campfire begins to burn down to embers, like softly glowing embers. But despite the night sky being clear, the area is surprisingly warm. Whether or not, the ground underneath you still feels warm. Worryingly, perhaps that means there's some sort of kind of active magma underfoot. But if nothing else, these cool kind of globes of floating kind of magma that are crusted over. So there's just a soft kind of radiant glow peeking out through the cracks between the cooled surface. They seem to be radiating kind of a gentle heat through the area in general. as you retire to sleep, who's taking we need 4 people to sit on watch for 2 hour stints, beg my pardon. Who's going to be on first watch?
I'm happy to go, this Cal.
Alfric, good to go.
Alfric second.
And me after.
Then Vanier. And who's taking last, Rayri or Azaka? Oh, you're on mute, Rayri. Livy.
May.
May. Okay, Rayri. You look tired, Azakar. You should get some sleep. You should get a full night's sleep. Okay.
Could I ask something as we're sort of preparing to settle down? Azakar is going to go after he's had this conversation, and he's going to dismiss himself from the rest of his colleagues and go into his tent. He's going to go down into he's going to sit down on his little bedspread, cross his legs, go into a meditative state, and spend 3 hope to do some divination.
Ooh. Okay, so you're down to 1 hope.
No hope. No hope. Oh yeah, 1 hope.
1
Yay.
hope. Also, while I'm here, roll your prayer dice.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. What is it?
2 d4s.
3d4. I think in the last session, I rolled 2 d4s when actually it was meant to be 3.
Oh, I see. I'm just going to put everyone to bed as an aside. There we are. Just put you in your little tents.
We got a 4.
Oh, no,
We've got a 3. And we got a 1.
Oh. Oh, someone turned off the campfire.
Sleepy night.
Oh no, someone turned off the campfire.
Oh.
Right, turn the campfire back on. And then we'll put Gannis to bed as well. Okay, so it's just Cal out. And so what did you roll? You rolled a 4, a 3, and a 1. Very good, very good.
Yes.
Okay. So Cal, you take first watch.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hang on, Dan.
What?
I was doing some divination.
Sorry, yeah.
He wants to talk to
I
God.
want to talk to
You
God.
want to talk to God. Okay, talk to me. That's how I respond. Talk to me.
Hello.
Hello.
So, yeah, you have to... I'm going to ask one question about an event, a person, place, or situation in the near future. Your vision of the world will momentarily twist and shape around you to show the answer, though it may be cryptic, obscured, or partial.
Okay.
So, I'm going to ask a question about...
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ramp up the ante slightly. And I'm going to ask that the other 4 of you deafen yourselves in Discord. So you can hear neither the question nor the answer. And when I wave frantically, you can undeafen yourselves. Remember to deafen, not mute. So deafen yourselves. So it's the picture of the headphones, I think. In Discord, click the... Actually, if you click on the Discord icon on your taskbar, there's a little headphone icon. That makes sense.
Headphone icon.
Or
I'm going to do that.
okay, and then give me a thumbs up when you're deafened.
Can you hear us? La 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 la. Yeah, you still...
Okay,
Or just take your headphones off.
So
Yeah,
Dan can take his headphones off. Yeah. Is Livy deafened? I mean, you responded, so I'm going to argue not. Are we all good? We all good? I think we're all deafened.
Okay.
Cool. Ask a question.
I would like to ask about this temple we're going to.
Okay.
What can we expect?
So I give you. Do you roll to see, or is it just I give you a straight, like straight and or
No,
cryptic answer
I just spent 3 hope.
to make? Okay.
Yeah.
You are presented with visions of a temple carved into the side of the mountains. The pillars and walls ravaged by the passing of time. But there is a chroma glow from within, like a glow of shifting hues. And as you have a vision of sort of like passing through the corridors of this kind of stone temple, and your vision lingers for a moment on a sigil that you know is the sigil of Naravid, the Doomsayer. A betrayer god who was a master of divination. There, and as you flow further into seemingly the heart of the temple, your vision starts to become blurry, almost as if your vision is beginning to crystallize, and you're kind of peering out from inside a crystal prism. And just before your vision becomes so opaque you can't make anything out, you see a silhouette, a humanoid silhouette, stood in front of this glowing crystal shard that juts from the temple floor, that appears to be bleeding.
Ugh.
And at that point, your vision completely crusts over, and you're back in your tent.
Okay. Good to know.
All good?
Good.
Okay. Hello, hello. Oh, I think Theo's muted.
Hello.
Hello.
And
Yay.
Alright, Dan's back, George is back, Livy's back. Okay, so.
Guys, we're all having a hot tub party. It's going to be great.
Oh,
Yay!
Yeah.
did you ask what we're getting for pudding?
Yeah.
Cal, you take first watch. You notice that it's Azakar's tent lamp that goes out last. And you've got a 2-hour stint. The first hour you're watching the campfire slowly kind of sputter out. What's the most kind of engaging thought on your mind as you kind of pass the time, as you kind of keep tabs on your surroundings?
I think it is the conversation between Cal and Rayri that continues to twist through his mind. And it makes him think of home for the first time in a long, long time, and his own past, which he's not really shared with anyone either. And for the first time in a long time, it used to be a routine, but now not so much anymore. He finds himself playing with the necklace tucked in his shirt. The chain there, and thinking. And then consistently reminds himself as what he said to Rayleigh about, like, powerful things in the hands of bad people is bad, but powerful things in the hands of good people can do good. And I think that's what he continually tries to think about, and it leads him to think about the war as well. It just brings up a lot of stuff in his head that he hasn't really had to think about in a while. But he's still relatively content. He's not like distracted. It's more like these like kind of ongoing thoughts as he does his usual kind of watch rounds.
Okay. Roll me an instinct check. A reactive instinct.
Instinct check. Oh no.
And what is your instinct score?
So it's a +1. So it's a 10. Sorry, 11 with hope.
Okay. So as it's instinctive, you won't get the hope, nor would you have gotten fear. And as you find yourself kind of lost in the thought of like power in the hands of good, you hear the snapping, the crunching of the moss a moment too late. As with a, where's my dice? I'm going to take advantage, unfortunately. A 27 to hit.
Yeah, that hits, Dan.
Okay. You feel like a heavy object swing round, and you feel 3 sharp, burning, searing, like, points of pain as this claw reaches round you and yanks you backwards off the log that you're sitting on, and you're hurled a good 15 feet, sliding to sliding next to a pile of rocks just out of the camp in the darkness. And like in the low light, you can't make out what it is that just attacked you, but you can see from the silhouette of it, from the dying camp light, that it is this big quadrupedal creature, and there's this thick tail that's swishing behind it, and you can see the outlines of these 2 large curved horns jutting from the back of its skull, reaching forward, similar to that of a ram's or a goat's. And as you're flung to the side, you're going to take 13 damage. So I should say that we are, I'm going to house rule until the rules officially release, that we can use multiple armor slots to reduce damage down in chunks. It has been confirmed that you can only use 1 per attack, but I think a lot of numbers need to change for us to that to be a super good idea. But for now, that is 13 damage, Cal, as you're flung across the mossy ground.
Cool. Cool. So I have 9 armor. So that's within my major damage between 8 and 22.
Mhm.
So if I remember rightly, I can just use an armor slot to bring that down to minor damage,
Yep.
and then it's only 1 HP. Am I correct?
Correct.
Maybe I finally understand the system. Maybe that's where we
No,
are.
that is
Okay.
absolutely spot
Cool.
on.
Until they change it all.
Until they change it again. Cool. Okay, I have something I would like to do though, because I keep forgetting to do it, so I'm going to do it now. So when I'm hit by an enemy in melee range, I can roll a number of 6 d6 equal to the amount of hit points I marked, so 1d6. And for each result over 5+, I can deal that point back to the enemy.
Okay.
As part of my vengeance subclass,
Yeah.
which I've never used. So let's do that. So basically, roll a d6. If it's above a 5, I give that back.
Okay.
So let's see if I do that. It's not above a 5. So okay, it was worth a shot. But hey ho.
Okay.
That's annoying.
Is
Is there anything else I can do? No, that's it.
Okay. I officially start combat, I'm gonna let me just add everyone into the combat tracker. Oh, come on now. Hold. Add you to the combat. Add you to the combat. Add you to the combat. Okay, so as we start combat proper, Cal, this beast, this creature that's just kind of flung you across the ground, you smell this kind of hot, rancid breath, presumably emitting from its maw. You can see these long, like dagger-like fangs glinting in the low light of the campfire. I'm going to spend a fear to activate again with its relentless ability. It's going to like, you see a flash from its of yellow, presumably from its eyes, and there's a huff of there's a huff from its snout, you assume. On a 4+, your evasion score is halved as it leaps on you, and chomps down a second time. You won't have advantage this time, but it's a d20 plus 3. That's a 17 to hit, and your evasion is halved.
Oh yeah, it certainly hit me. Yeah.
In which case, it rolls an 18 for damage.
Okay, cool. So same again. Another armor slot. Another HP. And it does say I think I can do that vengeance thing again as long as I'm hit by an enemy in melee range.
Yeah,
I'm just going to do that again just in case it does. It does mean I can. Okay, yay! I got a 6. So yeah, so for each result of 5+, deal a hit point back to the enemy. So is that 2 hit points or 1 hit point?
So
does the 5 count?
Yeah, 5 counts. So it takes 1 point of damage. Okay, the creature lets out this bestial roar as you stab into it, and it's sort of like, as it kind of bites down into you and thrashes you around, as you kind of spear it with, I'm going to say maybe you spear it with the dagger, like as it's up close.
Yeah, sure.
In which case you come loose from its maw as you kind of rake it across the flank, and it's now kind of stood fully silhouetted by the campfire. I'm going to pass over initiative, and I will have to pass it to you, Cal, as you're the only one conscious right now.
Yeah.
I will say, actually, before I pass it over, everyone else
Am
can...
I...
Well, I'll just say, everyone else can make an instinct check with disadvantage. So what we got?
That's a 4.
That's oh no, a 4, an 8.
That's a 9.
A
Mate,
9.
So I got +1 on instinct, but what's happening here?
You all just sound asleep.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Oh no, never mind.
And Rayri?
Oh, this bedroll's quite comfortable, actually.
This is such a comfy bed.
Do we get the hope and fear on this, or is this like a reaction?
So, reaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I think Cal will probably cry out.
Oh.
A 10. A
Okay.
10 from Rayri.
Okay.
What does that mean?
It
Does
means
Rayri hear me?
Rayri is awake. So I'll turn on Rayri's light. Rayri, you're woken up because Vinny kind of shimmies around at the sound of this kind of roar. And like, you're not at the moment, you're not sure what's happening, but yeah, something has woken up Rayri. But Cal, you are currently on the ground, like on one knee. This creature you can sense it's right in front of you, but you can't really. All you've got to go on is like a silhouette, really. Tell you what, let me turn up the brightness a little bit, because I'm kind like that.
Okay.
You can't see shit.
I'm going.
By all means, as you're on watch, if you want to put away one of your weapons, you can draw a torch that you would have had on watch instead.
Okay, I'm going. In that case, am I still able to, like, as a free action, call out to the group to be like? I'm trying to think of what I would say.
I will argue. I'll let you let everyone else make another reactive, like, instinct check, perception check, if you will, for a stress.
Sure, I can do that. Yeah.
Done.
Of course.
Right. In which case, as you shout out across your camp, everyone roll again.
With disadvantage.
With disadvantage, Rayri, you automatically pass because you are awake, but you now know that Cal is calling for reasons.
Oh, that's a little bit better.
Is it disadvantage again?
Disadvantage, yeah.
Yes.
I rolled a 6.
I've got a plus instinct. That's a 12.
12. Okay. Azakar and Vanier, you both kind of well, Azakar, you snap upright when you hear Cal. Cal, what is it you're shouting? Just like help?
I feel like I think he's calling out like for reinforcements. So I think he wouldn't say help. I think that seems very un-Cal.
Attack!
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like monster.
In which case, yeah, Azakar, you like snap upright. Vanier, you're a bit more groggy as you kind of sit up and like some of your hair's sticking up as you are face down on the pillow. But you know, you wake up and realise that the two of you are also now awake. So I'll turn your lights on. And Vanier. Yeah, you two are now eligible to jump into the initiative.
Cool.
Yay.
Can I have a torch and my broadsword out?
torch and the broadsword. So
So
let
the
me. Yeah. So you put
I
you're putting
can
away the dagger,
see.
yeah.
The usual.
So the torch.
Yeah.
Let's go. 10-5. And as you spark the torch along the floor and hold it aloft, in front of you, looming over you, is a large four-legged draconic beast. It's got this jagged spike, like large jagged lower jaw, and it's got a large fin that stems from the base of its neck or most of the way down its body. It's got these powerful legs. It's got kind of ridges across its forehead and brow, and it's about 4-5 foot wide. But yeah, there's a powerful huff from its snout as you spark your torch and illuminate it.
Okay.
Well, what do you do?
Am I able to attack still, or
Yeah.
have I done too much?
No, absolutely, go for it.
That's yes to attacking.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna hit him with my broadsword.
Okay.
Yes, I think that seems like the most sensible thing to do.
Okay.
So I'm going to use the roll. And that's a 22 plus 4 to hit.
Okay, 26 is a hit.
Fantastic. Okay, so that is 2d8 plus 3. Where, so 2d8, 13, 16 damage.
16 damage. So you slash at it, and you manage to deal a major wound to it. And it roars and sort of staggers back a few steps, and then sort of like lets out an almost gibbering roar in response to you. Cool. That do you want to move? It's right up in your grill.
Cal is not a person who gets out of the way of a monster. There's no point. He can't really do long range. It feels very much like Aragorn fighting the ring wraiths, like he with his torch and his sword. He's using the sword like that. I feel like he's literally like facing this draconic creature down. It's like, come on, then. He's already been bitten. He's pretty sure that he's going to be next to be munched on again.
Sure.
So he's all good.
Okay. In which case, who wants to step in next? Rayri, Azakar, or Vanya?
Am I? So I'm quite close, aren't I?
Mhm.
In terms of people. Obviously, I know Rayri was up before, so unless Rayri wanted to act quickly, but sure. In that case, yeah.
Vanya?
The sound of the word monster is music to his ears.
Mhm.
as out of the grogginess, he's like, monster? Yes. And he kind of like goes underneath like the his tent to see where this light is coming from, and going along the shadows comes running up to this creature. And yeah, I'm going to because I can, I'm going to activate my deadly focus to give myself an extra proficiency as I focus down on this creature. The pure joy of having a monster to slay, I would like to use my experience, thrill of the hunt.
Okay.
So using a hope spend on an experience to gain +3 to this. So this will be made with +6 total to attack.
Okay.
So let me just roll. With +6 on this. 13 + 6. 19 to hit.
That is a hit.
So this is going to be 3d10 plus 3 points of damage. And I'll describe it in a second. Where's my d10s? Just d12. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Roll. So that's 16 points of damage. Like primal magic damage in total.
Okay. In which case, as you describe it to me.
So, all I can imagine is from Cal's vision, the camera is behind Cal, like holding up this torch in the dark and seeing this like shape coming into light, trying to attack him. But then there's another shape that just comes out from behind the creature in the shadows, like jumping, leaping on top of the creature, grabbing its horns to try and pull it back, and crushing like the creature around the head, like almost trying to pull the on its skull.
Okay, so in which case, yeah,
With your thighs.
With my arm.
as you grab as you grab this,
Yes.
So this is clearly a dragon spawn of some sort. But yeah, as you grab the curved horns at the back of its neck, back of its head, like you're wrestling with the creature, and you can see these thick muscle, like sinewy muscles, taunting as it wrestles with you. It looks like it's like Komodo dragon like shaped, but just quite a lot spikier, quite a lot. It's got the big fin down its back. But that is major damage that you do to it. Is you leap onto it now that it's illuminated and grapple it with Cal. Anything else?
I forgot. No, never mind. I'll save the Slayer die. I don't think I can do anything else this turn. But yeah, I'm trying to like wrestle with this creature. It probably like shakes me off a moment or something to get ready for another attack. But I'm like, fresh meat.
Okay.
Yeah. There's this like really like disturbing smile with like the light, like when you get trying to light and like a torch underneath your face. You just see this manic look on Vanya as he's wrestling with this creature.
Okay, I'm going to jump back in. I'm going to spend another fear to activate again. And as you jump on the creature's back, it's like thrashing you left and right, and Cal, you can see the creature trying to turn its head to see what it is that's attacking it from behind, and then it just stops, and then its eyes, it's like vertically slitted eyes, widen, and the pupils begin to glow. I'm going to spend a fear to drop me down to 2. I need the 2 of you to make me instinct reaction rolls.
Just as a quick note from last, I did roll that attack with hope.
Oh, did you? Okay. Yeah. And did Cal roll with hope?
So I gain a hope.
Cal roll.
Which adds to my Slayer die. Yeah, I'm adding it to my Slayer die rather than give myself an extra hope.
Oh, right, okay. So back down to 4.
So I'm on 4 out of 6.
I rolled with hope because I got 22 with hope.
Cal goes up to 5. Okay.
So unless I'm assuming you spent a resource to activate, or
I've spent an action, fear to activate.
Right, instinct roll them.
And then another to force a roll for you.
That's a 10 from me.
Okay. And Vanya?
What was it? Sorry.
Instinct.
Yeah. What was the roll? Just remind me. Instinct.
Yeah.
Got ya. So +2 on this. Oh, wrong thing. This. Oh no! I got a 7. 7 with fear.
A 7 with fear.
But
Okay,
then
so
this is a reaction. So
as the creature's eyes flash, I will. Oh, failure. Oh no! It uses old rules. The next time you two go to activate, it will cost you an additional... if you don't skip a turn, it will... Okay, tell you what. The next time the two of you want to activate, it will award me a fear. So, next time the two of you want to activate. As it... You feel this sort of like mental assault reverberate out of the creature. And it muddles your minds, and unbeknownst to you, your kind of mental auras, your psychic auras, your magical auras, begin to glow that much brighter, which acts as a beacon for the creature. I'm going to go ahead and spend... Actually, no, I'm not. Because I'm going to pass it on to Rayri or Azakar.
You want to go, Ravy?
Happy to go. I think the first time Riri woke up, she was just kind of like, just trying to just be like, Vinny, this is fine. It's fine. It's just like raccoons. It's fine. It's fine. And then realizes very quickly that it's a bit bigger than wildlife, and she runs out.
As you step out of
I
your
would
tent,
like. Yeah, always forget to use. Which I can spend a hope and make an attack, and it will become my ranger's focus. But I have to make a attack first.
as you run out of your tent, as you run out of your tent,
No.
roll me,
I run back in my tent.
roll me an instinct reaction.
Instinct reaction. That's a crit.
That's a crit. You
Why do I always roll crits on reactions? Like, this is so unfair.
as you emerge from your tent and like you turn your head to the sound of the combat happening to your left, there's just this feeling, this twinge of nerves that rips up your neck into your mind, and you just like a sixth sense, you leap to your left as this large claw sweeps towards you, barely misses you, and arcs through and sort of like demolishes the front half of your tent, and you turn to realise there is a second creature prowling alongside your tent. So I'm gonna go ahead and add him
Well.
to the rota too. There are two beasties. You're welcome. So you can now continue.
Well, that guy's gonna get it.
Sure.
Then. He's gonna become my ranger focus.
I will say that currently this second beast that's between your and Cal's tent, it's enough in the darkness that you can't. It'll be disadvantaged to hit it. The other one though is illuminated by Cal's.
Yeah, I was gonna say I could. What if I've still got movement, surely. So if I go a little bit, just gonna jump a little bit out of the way of that bastard.
Yeah.
And I will. I'm gonna shoot for the one next to Cal, I think, because that was my original focus. So little hitty witty. Team plus 3. 14. So that's a 13, 16 with fear.
16 with fear. Sorry, the one between Cal and Vanya, or the one between your two tents?
The one by Cal.
One by Cal. Okay, a 13. So 13 plus. Are you adding anything extra onto it?
3, 16.
16. That is a hit. Beg my pardon.
Yeah. 16. Fab. That means he is now my ranger focus,
Okay.
which means I always precisely know which direction they're in. All damage rolls I make against them also deal a stress point.
Okay, so if it's stress.
And if I miss them, I can re-roll, but then lose ranger focus. Just so you kind of know what the dealio is.
Gotcha.
So you get a stress, as well as whatever this is going to be.
I apologise to anyone watching. The camera has gone funny. So 12 damage.
12 damage and a stress.
12 damage and stress. So it takes the stress, and that is you fire the arrow. It as it hurtles towards the creature, it turns and the arrow glances off the scales on its flank. That is actually only minor damage. But it's still taken 6 in total. Very, very good. Anything else, Rayri? Any other movement, or are you calling it there? All good?
That'll be it.
Okay, I think we're going to move straight on to Azakar. Azakar going next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could I run out? I was going to say, could I run out with my lantern as well? My lantern and my scabbard.
So that's I'll call that a 20, 20, 10. Boop. Okay, Azakar has a lantern.
Azakar's gonna run out towards close to Rayri.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he's not going to be able to see this other one that was behind her, and he can see the one that's between Cal and noticing that Rayri's just made a shot at this one. He is also, would you say that's in close range? That's in close range, isn't it?
Close is for our extents and purposes
yes,
6 squares.
it
Yeah,
is.
that's fine.
So close is 30 foot.
Yeah, you're definitely in close.
Cool. With that, then I am going to use my spirit weapon to launch my scabbard, my scimitar, towards him. Sorry, and try and whack him with that.
Okay. So that
is +3, so that is an 18 with fear.
18 with fear. What I will do off the back of Ravi's fear, because I forgot to add it, I'll up my fear by 1. Off the back of this fear, I'm going to introduce a complication, but that is a hit, Azakar.
2. Bum, bum, bum. +1. is 10 points of damage towards that scaly boy.
Okay. And what does this look like again?
After he's seen Rayri sort of aim and make a hit, and he can see clearly where this monster is, he's gonna whip back his scimitar and just fling it like a boomerang towards this creature.
In which case, as you fling the scimitar, it arcs out. Vanya, you're able to sort of like track the trajectory of this blade, and you move your right leg up enough that the scimitar like pierces the creature's flank just behind its front right leg, and kind of arcs down its side, causing whilst the wound in the grand scheme of things is relatively superficial, it twists up enough that Vanya, you're able to then finish the sort of like the twist of the neck. But yeah, Azakar, that is minor damage, but it slays the beast. And Vanya, you
Nice.
you land with a bit of a thud as the creature's legs give out from underneath it. Anything else, Azakar?
No.
I think it's been more than enough time.
Because the spirit weapon comes back, just grabs it.
Okay, so you grab it back. I think it's been more than enough time for Alfric to roll me another instinct reaction test. Just in case you're still in your...
this entire thing. He's a sleepy boy. Is it with a disadvantage again?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yep.
Okay. In which case, the creature's kind of death rattle is enough to, like, you sit up with a start, and you can see through the silhouettes, like playing the shadows playing across your the canvas of your tent. You can see, and the sounds, you can tell that something is happening outside. So Alfric, you are now eligible to jump into the initiative if you so wish.
He staggers outside, several rounds late, clutching his violin. Like, ah!
In your gym jams.
What's going on? Yep, his little silk like sleeping hat.
Okay, so yeah, as you stagger out, we'll move you out the tent there. You do. The first thing you notice is Azakar and Rayri on the other side of this kind of sputtering campfire. Azakar illuminated by a lantern. And then as you scan, you can see that Vanya is currently on the back of this large, like, draconic beast that's slumped to the ground. And out the corner of your eye, you see another beast that has just turned to look at you as having just emerged.
Do I see it, or do I?
You see it's sort of like shadow.
There.
It's a very atypical. It's a very typical sort of like the gleaming eyes in the darkness, like it's reflecting the dying embers of the camp light. Also, I forgot to add to introduce a complication. As you stagger out, the night illuminates slightly. It's not showing. Hold. Illuminates as over the sort of like the ridge to the north of your camp, a glowing moat, like one of the floating lava orbs, begins floating in your direction. I will add that proper because there's a graphic for it and everything. This is going to be huge. Don't mind me. Ignore that. Don't mind that. There we go.
Hey.
There it is. Yes, it's glowing. It's about 15 feet off the ground, give or take. But it's about 10 foot in diameter, so it's actually floating about 10 feet off the ground, I'll argue. What do you do, Alfred?
I spotting this creature in the nearby darkness. Would you say that's close, or I can never tell what's close, what's not close?
Close is like 6 squares. But yeah, so that's definitely close. If anything, you're very close.
Okay. He is going to desperately cast Enrapture, in sort of the hope that whatever is chaos is going on over there, he can slow this particular monster, because he doesn't know if there are more around them. So I have to make a spellcast roll against a close target.
Okay.
On a success, you can temporarily keep their attention on you, narrowing their field of view and drowning out any sound but your voice.
Oh, blimey.
You can also
Okay.
mark as stress.
As it's sound based, I'm gonna forego the disadvantage for it being in darkness. Yeah, roll them bones.
So I just roll. How do you roll a spell?
So for you, I believe it's presence checks. As a bard, I believe.
That's true. Yes. So just a normal. That is a 15 with hope.
15 with hope. That is a hit. So it doesn't do any damage. It just forces it to focus on you. Yeah.
Yes. And I can spend. I think I can. Sorry, one sec. I can. Where is it? And I can also deal a stress to it by marking a stress.
So marks just. Do you want to mark a stress to cause a stress?
Yes, I shall.
Okay. Big pardon. It takes a stress. So in which case, as you let, I assume, I imagine this to be a bit of a dissonant chord to grab its attention, and it turns to you, and you hear this low rumbling growl emit from somewhere deep within the beast, as it turns its attention to you. And in this moment, the way it stalks forward ever so slowly reminds you of watching prowling cats hunting small little songbirds in tree branches. And you realise in this moment that you are, in fact, the songbird. Anything else, Alfred?
I think that's it.
Okay. In which case, I'm going to interject and spend a fear to have it leap at you into the light. As it goes, it's gonna leap at you. Its eyes flash before it strikes Alfric, and your evasion is halved, rounding up, before it attacks you for +3. 8 to hit, but your evasion halved.
Yeah, that hits.
Okay. Like you find
so
yourself.
My evasion is usually 12, but it's 6 at the moment.
Oh, I ignore those rolls. I clicked the wrong button. In which case, you find yourself sort of like mesmerized for a moment too long, as the thing sort of like beguiles you with its stare, and then it bites down on you for 13 damage.
13 damage. Okay, that is.
Actually, it doesn't bite.
I
It
will
claws at you.
spend an armor slot. So yeah, that's major damage. I think I can take that.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
In which case, you feel yourself flung to the ground as this thing, like, smacks you with this this unnaturally powerful strength. I'm going to. You know what? I think I'm then going to use its relentless ability to immediately take another turn. So it swiped at you, it spotted Rayri and Vinny, and Rayri, as it stalks towards you, your evasion is halved. I'm rolling hot on that. And it's going to swing at you in these wild swings for 20 to hit. For 9 damage. You spend an armor? Yeah, okay. And as it sort of like leaps forward, slashes at Alfred, leaps forward again, slashes at Rayri, it plants its two front claws in the mossy ground and sort of like growls a challenge at you as well, Azakar. I'm going to pass my turn up. Who wants to step in next?
Does you want to go first, Cal?
Oh, I think you're on mute, Fear.
You're on mute.
You're mute.
Just double check the thing that's on me and Dan regarding the
yeah. So if
what the other creature did to us, is that gone because it's dead, or is it not gone?
that is still active. So if either of you to activate, I'll gain a fear.
That's still active. Okay. Just trying to think about.
Well, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So, thinking outside the box, Mr. DM, how difficult would it be for a strong boy to this creature into the magma bubble?
Well, I mean,
If they
it's
tag team, is that just one fear?
It's true. That's a better question. I like that. It's technically one move.
technically one move. If you tag team,
If you have levitating, that helps.
I mean, it would definitely help. The creature looks thick. 3 Cs. It's a head like, well, I mean, Vanya and Cal, you know, because Cal, you've been punched by it, and Vanya, you've been wrestling it. Like, these are slabs of moving, it's like slabs of muscle, like tightly wound muscle. So, you know that beneath the crust of this magma orb.
Break one down.
Oh, hello, am I back? Hello? I think we're lagging.
You're breaking
It's
up
going
quite
in and out.
Broken.
Oh,
so we get
hello.
bits and pieces.
We just heard
Right.
thick crust back and forth.
That's exactly what I said. Right, am I back? Am I better? Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
We had
Yeah.
3 Cs.
Okay.
A little bit.
Hello. Hello. Right. Test. Lag.
Yeah.
Lag. Right, we're back. Hello.
Yeah.
Apologies. So you know Cal because you've been punched by it. Vanya because you've been wrestling it. These things are dense, heavy, packed, walking tanks of muscle. But Vanya, as you glance over, you do know that underneath the crust of this magma orb is hot. Well, I mean, it's lava, so of course it's hot. But if you were able to somehow introduce this dragon spawn to the magma inside the orb, bad things would happen to the dragon spawn. It's just a case of how you might go about getting this kind of 200-pound lump 10 feet in the air with enough velocity to enter the orb.
So how about this then, DM? What if with enough movement could I, with my cold, icy, windy arcane gauntlets, volleyball this magma onto the creature with Cowl holding, or like maybe pushing the creature towards the magma at the same time?
Opening it up like an egg.
Even Vanier would know that fundamentally, if you were to interact with this orb, the crust is gonna like crack, break away, and like fall into the magma. So there's no real, you can't like grab it because your hands would just go in it.
Even if I'm creating icy magic as I'm pushing it, cooling it down at the same time.
Let's see what
you can totally tell me it's
no. I'm on board for it, and this is what hope and fear is for. This is what hope and fear is for. So you can absolutely try it.
I'm just thinking outside the box. We got this floating magma thing coming our way. Why not kill two birds with one stone? Throw the magma onto the creature. But yeah, if you think it's within the realm of possibility.
It's within the realm of possibility, yes.
You might lose your hands in the process.
It's either you introduce the orb...
You need those to make meat.
Yes. You either introduce the orb to the dragon spawn, or you introduce the dragon spawn to the orb. One of the two.
Maybe, yeah, how about this? Me and Cal, together, tag teaming, pushing that creature into the magma orb.
How are you getting
with one almighty... Well, it's only 10 foot in the air, right?
Yeah.
With an uppercut. I've literally punched a ghost out of existence.
Well, Cal, did you want to tag team with this, or like Alfric has levitation? Is all I'm gonna say. Alfric has levitation as a spell.
Triple tag team.
I am on the floor, but I have levitation.
I mean, I have plenty of hope, so I'm game to do something. I've got 5 hope, and I don't need them the same way that everyone else does. I think this is kind of good.
I have 4 hope. I have more than enough.
I've got you down as 6 hope. Alfric.
Ah, I don't know where that came from.
You got some earlier.
So who would like to help Vanier, who is planning on rugby tackling this thing and like WWE style wrestling toss it into a floating orb of magma?
The levitation from Alfred would be very helpful in this scenario.
I can do that thing. I can check if there's any limitations on it. I don't think. Yeah. No. It has to be within close range of where you currently are. That's
absolutely fine.
You're within.
You're in melee range. Okay. So is Vanier taking the next turn?
Yes, I will. I will introduce that fear. To you, DM. I'll initiate the action.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just say, "Get a bit of help!" as I start running towards this creature with a fist, sparking out wind and ice as I'm going for a rocket punch.
Okay, I'm gonna I'm going to have to argue for... So, Alfric, if you're going to levitate, that'll be... I assume it's a spell cast roll of some sort?
It's a spellcasting roll, yeah.
Okay.
Shall I roll that?
Well, your... If that is, in inverted commas, your roll, then your roll, and then we choose between the two, is a strength roll.
Yeah. Is a strength roll?
Yeah.
Do I have
take
any...
higher, presumably. Well, you choose which you take.
Mhm.
Yeah. Could I spend an experience in this scenario?
What's the experience?
At all to improve my strength?
What's the experience in question?
I was good. So Thrill of the Hunt is my like combat-y experience that I use. However, there's a small part of me that also I'm thinking cooked meat using my monstrous culinarian experience. Barbecue. But no.
No. As exotic as it is,
no,
cooking via floating
that's
lava
fine.
orb is not an acknowledged culinary art.
No.
Right, roll some dice.
No, that's
so
fine. I'll do a straight roll.
okay, yeah, spellcast for
3 for me.
spellcast
For my
Alfric.
strength. 18, 19, 20, 21.
Okay, do we want to use?
21.
Sure.
Hold
Didn't
on.
George just
Was it a crit?
didn't George just get a crit?
I
No,
get a crit? I was
no,
supposed
9
to-
You
and
get
a
a crit?
6.
No.
No.
It was a 9 and a 6.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I rolled with hope as well.
I mean, I got an 18.
18.
With my plus.
18 with
So
hope
yours are
and
21.
21 with hope.
Should go more.
I got. Yeah. So basically, take my roll.
Well,
That's pretty
whose
good.
do we want to
How's-
pick? Because whoever's we pick gains hope. And actually, so Georgia actually needs Alfric spends 3 hope. Sorry, beg pardon, to do the tag team. So that drops you down to 3. And okay, so yeah, who wants to take the hope, Alfric or Vanier?
I feel like with what we're trying to do here,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to risk a low going below
Yeah, no,
20 on this
I'm
roll.
fine with the hope I've got at the moment. I'm fine with you. taking the hope.
Fine.
I'm worried if we went with your own, he'd be like, "Oh, you needed a 20
Okay.
to do this." I'm like, "No."
In which case, as this orb is kind of floating perilously close towards you, I'm hoping this won't be a pain like the last one was. Vanier, you grab this draconic beast, like you effectively stoop low, like it raises up to bring down its claws on you as you kind of vault over the log, vault past Rayri and your tent, and you catch it under the front legs, and like you lift it up, and it's like you're carrying a bear, like a scaly bear. And this orb that's kind of listing towards the center of your camp. What does your levitation sound like or look like, Alfric?
I imagine he kind of scrabbles for the violin that he kind of dropped when he was thrown to the floor, and he does a single sharp note that seems to rise up, and whatever he grabs sort of rises up with that note.
Okay. Very good. In which case, yeah, Vanier, you feel yourself, like, you feel the weight, the strain of your arms lessening as the creature begins to sort of like lift off the ground. And as you slam it into the side of this, the crust of the magma globe, the crust cracks some more and then splits apart, and that's the point, that's your cue to sort of like let go and just finish with a shove with your shoulder. and the magma orb breaks into, like, the crust breaks into pieces and are immediately like sucked into the heated magma in the center, and the horned hunter screams as it hits the side of this thing, and then is slowly slowly drawn in to the mass, and like you have to step back and shield your eyes as the light is blinding and the heat is searing. Whose tents are they? Like, especially in the low light, it takes a while to kind of adjust, but that's Alfric and Cal. Alfric, you have to sort of like roll out the way from the heat, and then you watch as yours and Cal's tents ignite and burst into flames. The creature like screams as it's absorbed in, and the heat of the orb causes it to rise up into the night sky, and as the creature sort of like disappears into the magma, like end of Terminator 2 style, just the claw going in last, it rises up enough into the sky and it illuminates the light sky for a moment before the outer edge, it rises high enough that the outer edge begins to cool and it recrusts. And by the time the orb lists back down to like ground level, it is cleared the camp, and the creature is very, very dead. In fact, there's not even a bloodstain. There's definitely not a bloodstain. But yes, as you watch this orb kind of disappear overhead, and sort of like recrossed over, as the sound of the creature's cries die out, Cal, you pick yourself up from the far side. You hear a rather confused voice. "What's going on?" says Gannis, as he sort of like crawled out the end of his tent, like looking around in confusion. And as he
Forgot he was here.
Yeah, as he stands and looks over at you, like he sees that you gathered around the campfire, he peers over his shoulder at you, Cal, stood at the head of this slain beast. You watch as the creature's form seemingly sort of like putrefies into a dark shadowy mist, and then it dissipates, returning presumably to whichever dragon spawned it. And as Gannis looks to the five of you and, "What just happened?" he says. We'll call it there.
Vanya just drops to his knees. The meat!
Oh, me.
That was breakfast!
So, with that, with that combat over, that nighttime combat over, yeah, we will call it there. Congratulations, everyone! You did it.
Hey, thank you for letting us be creative.
You are more than right. So yeah, that is pretty much that. So with that combat out the way, with your welcome to Merathesos firmly in hand, we'll see what the rest of your adventure has to hold next time. If you are enjoying this, or if you're interested to see more Daggerheart stuff like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe if you're on YouTube, or follow if you're over on Twitch. We are going to be playing every other week, and VODs will be available on YouTube once a week. but there's also loads and loads of other stuff. We play D&D, we play Blades in the Dark, we're going to be playing Pugmy, we're going to be playing Wrath and Glory. There's all sorts for you to catch up with, and you can find that all over on YouTube. So definitely come say hello if you haven't already. Thank you all for playing. Let's make your faces beautifully bigger. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for watching. Thank you, Daisy, for sleeping. Yeah, if we will see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye 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 bye.